Hi, this is Joacim Cans from HAMMERFALL, and you are listening to Pommesgabel, the podcast of powermetal.de.
Hey everybody, I'm Marcel from Pommesgabel, the podcast of powermetal.de, and this following interview is in English because of our today's special guest. He was born in Sweden and brought us the true heavy metal back in the middle of the 90s with his band. And with his band, he will release their 12th studio record. And to be honest, Hammer of Dawn is one of the most powerful heavy metal records in the last month, I think. So it's a big pleasure for me to speak with Joacim Cans, lead singer of the mighty HAMMERFALL. So Joacim, welcome to Pommesgabel. Welcome to the special episode.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you. So,
thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome. So, how do you feel?
I'm pretty good, and I'm very excited because now it's only a few days before the actual album comes out, and it's kind of a waiting game because you sit around. We've been done with the album for quite some time. We started to record. I think it was like over a year ago. We started to record the album, so it's been a very long process. And now, finally, we're about to present this piece of work, this handicraft for the rest of the world. So, of course, you're a bit nervous too.
But you're very excited.
Very excited. Very excited.
At first, I want to talk with you about the upcoming HAMMERFALL record, Hammer of Dawn, your 12th studio record. So a few months ago, the single with the same title was released. So how was the response from the fans about the powerful title track? I think from my point of view, the song is perfect for future live performances.
It is. I think we all saw that as like an instant classic, a song that, after this album cycle, after this tour, is a song that has to be included. I'm also very, proud and happy that we managed to once again release an album that is, that HAMMERFALL is a band that you can rely on. That we're still recording and releasing songs that will be included in the set for the rest of our career. I mean, the worst that could happen is still that you release an album that no one cares about. You release this album because you have to go on tour. You want to go on tour, and people or the label or whatever, the promoter said, well, then you need to release an album first. And, oh, my God. And you write 12 crappy songs, and you release it, and no one wants to hear these songs live. But you do at least do 3 or 4 songs just to annoy people. No, just kidding. It's the reactions were really good. I would say this is kind of that song is very HAMMERFALL-ish. It's kind of a hymn-like song, of course, Hammer of Dawn. There's no argue about that. I do think it has, as well as the rest of the album, a lot of energy. It's so vivid. It's so alive, and that's a matter of, I would say, 5 guys sitting at home, not being able to play live for such a long time. And when we finally were allowed to do something, which was going into the studio, I think everyone was just about to burst. So all this kind of energy and frustration were kind of channelized into the recording. And that is what makes this album unique, I think.
Yes, to be honest, at the current point, I think that Hammer of Dawn with Crimson Thunder and Renegade is one of my most favorite HAMMERFALL records of all time, I think.
Wow,
but
cool.
I think also that Hammer of Dawn has to grow in the next days and months and years, I think, like Crimson Thunder. The title of the new record sounds quite powerful and meaningful. So is there any certain meaning behind Hammer of Dawn?
It depends on who you ask. And now you're asking me. So let me give you my story, my vision on it. Sometimes you have like a well thought out story behind everything. Yeah, it's about Hector rising up from the COVID ashes with his mighty hammer. Well, not really, but it can be interpreted like that. I mean, Hammer of Dawn is first of all the name of the hammer. That's Hector's hammer. Because there's also a song on the album called No Son of Odin.
One of my favorite songs with No Mercy and Hammer of Dawn, the title track.
Nice. Because in the past, throughout our career, people have been referring to Hector as, and Hector is the warrior, Hector as in the son of Odin. He's Thor with Thor's hammer. Like, no. He's not Thor. And that's not Thor's hammer. That's his hammer. And now, finally, we have a name for the hammer. That's the Hammer of Dawn. So I would say if you look at the artwork, but unfortunately, most people will not even see the artwork because they're going to listen on streaming services. When it's so small, it's just going to be like a little thing in the middle. Like, I can't really, it doesn't make any sense. But this is like a promise for a brighter and better future. And Hector, with his Hammer of Dawn, will lead the way.
With the glistening light around the Hammer of Dawn, do you think it's a kind of dawn for heavy metal? Or for the mankind?
I mean, it's a dawn. I think it's just a dawn for, a better tomorrow somehow. I think people are, after 2 years of not, doing anything, I think people got some quality time with themselves to contemplate a little bit and just think about what is important in life. So maybe something good will come out of this.
So it's not everything bad in this pandemic situation.
You know what? Even in the dark, there's a shimmer of light. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So you just need to learn from every experience you go through in life and, make something, good out of it. I mean, I can't really tell it's been so much fun sitting around for 2 years, to be honest with you, especially when playing live is your happy pill. That is what, keeps me going. But on the other hand, I found many other things that, kind of triggered me, been reading a lot of books that also have inspired me in my creative process. So, no, not only bad things, but I think we are all so fed up with this now. So maybe from next Monday, we will not mention the pandemic word or the COVID word once again. It's going to be illegal.
So I think the artwork is also quite different from that of the Dominion record. We have now the heaven and the glistening light, and on the Dominion record we have the hell.
Yes.
We have the quite cool hell with Hector.
You have the two opposites, more or less.
And in your opinion, what are the main musical differences between Dominion on the one hand and Hammer of Dawn on the other hand?
I think this album is so powerful and so alive for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I don't think this album also has more fast songs. And that makes it maybe a little more, when it's up-tempo, I think it's more positive in a way. Because if you take down the kind of the beats per minute and you do more like, slower mid-tempo songs, that creates a certain atmosphere. But if you just go in with a bang and you start off a couple of fast ones, that makes people happy.
Obviously, yes. I think the best songs are the fast songs with hymn character. But although you haven't changed much about the basic recipe, I think. It sounds enormous, fresh, imaginative, and very vital to me. The new record in the whole situation. And in addition, the album has a very high hit density paired with even bigger choirs. So what do you think comes from?
I mean, this is Hammerfall. I mean, this is the way we write music, and this is the way we want to present ourselves. And that's been the same since day one. When I met Oscar Droniak back in 1996, we realized that we came from the same kind of school of heavy metal upbringing. We had the same influences. We also had the same visions where we wanted to take the band and in what direction we want to go. And I think we kept the eye on the prize all the time. We didn't steer off too much because we set up like a framework that was heavy metal according to Joacim Cans. And within these frames, we were able to do more or less whatever we wanted because that was and that is heavy metal to us. We also wanted to write songs that we were capable of playing live. Songs that invited and still invites the fans to take part in, to sing along, because it's kind of boring to go to a show and you can't really sing along because you can't really hear the melody. What was the lyrics again?
You want to be part of it. You want to be like HAMMERFALL. You want to be part of HAMMERFALL.
Exactly. So there's always room for the fan to be part. I think the songs are not complete until you play the songs live.
Yes, of course.
That is my opinion.
And you build a perfect bridge to my next question. It's about brotherhood. It's the very first song, and I think it's very representative of this power of the whole record. You can hear that it was the matter of the heart for you and Oscar to write a song about your friendship, but also the whole heavy metal community. So it can be basically stand for both.
Yes, of course, what you just mentioned, but mainly this is a song and a way for us to show tribute to the greatest people on earth, which are the fans of HAMMERFALL, the Templars of Steel, that's been, by our side, standing behind us since day one. Because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be here without them. Because we can record an album, but if no one listens to the album and no one buys the album, there will be no second album. There will be no tour. So for better or worse, they have always been there for us. And I think you can also turn it around that we have also always been there for them, staying true to what HAMMERFALL is all about. And I don't think anyone, the fans, and also the heavy metal, the way we see it. I don't think that we ever, disappointed the true fan. In my honest opinion, I mean, sometimes maybe you wrote a song that, I didn't really like that song, but hey, we had like 120 songs recorded, and I mean, you can't really love everyone,
Yes, and to be honest, the album Infected is one of my most favorite songs because it shows a very dark side of HAMMERFALL, but also very typical for you as a band. And
yes.
It was a very cool record, but Hammer of Dawn, like I said, it represents all the HAMMERFALL aspects, and you said it in a very cool word, it's HAMMERFALL'ish.
Yes, it is. And Infected, I must say, has some of the best songs we've ever written. I think what really scared people off, they were judging the album by the cover. When they saw the artwork, they said, I don't like this album. So they had that mindset already when they started to listen to the album. And I think that was a big mistake from our side.
Okay, at the point of now, would you change the artwork of Infected?
Well, it's really hard to rewrite history, but if there's going to be a re-release in the future, maybe that's an idea. we see what happens. It's still the same album, though. And we did play one song on the previous tour. We did Redemption. And I mean, when we play the songs live, people seem to like, this is a good song. I mean, Dia de los Muertos is a fantastic song, in my opinion. So it's just that people are like, no, Infected, no, I didn't like that. Like, okay, you didn't like the cover. And let me tell you, I didn't like the cover either.
And please give him a second chance. Listen to it.
Absolutely.
So let us talk about Oscar and you. What exactly is the main aspect of this friendship for you? Especially since you've always gone through thick and thin, we said in Germany, together over the years and overcome every hurdle. Yeah.
We started off in a very good way because we kind of, found each other. When I walked into the rehearsal room, I heard someone, this was the first time I met Oscar. I heard someone playing a melody on the guitar. And like, I know that. So I went down the stairs and I just went up to him and I said, Dorian Gray, Stormwitch. And his jaw dropped like, you know Stormwitch? Yeah, one of my favorite bands, I said. And there we clicked. And from there on, we just, like I said, eye on the prize. I think the strength in our, partnership, relationship, whatever you want to call it, is the respect for each other and also the trust. Because when he is done with, especially when it comes to composing, that when he's done with something, I know that he tried every possible way to make this as good as possible. So now it's just for me to do my thing, to put the vocal melodies in there, to find some really nice ways to approach his brilliant riffing. And he says the same thing, that he trusts me, that when I am done, I tried every possible way, and, he can't do it better. No one else can make it better than I do. So, this teamwork is really, really strong. And I think sometimes if I wanted to make some changes, and maybe I wasn't really sure about, the chain studs and leather in the early days, but he stood there. No, it's supposed to be like this. And like, okay. So without his strength standing behind his ideals, I don't think we would be where we are today, because he was really standing strong, like, no, this is the way it is. It's supposed to be like this. And like, okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. Let's do it like that.
And you trusted him, and he trusts
you. I did trust him, yes. And we still fight sometimes over who can leave the band or not. And I will say, you know what? You can never leave, I said, because without you, HAMMERFALL cannot survive. And then he gets upset because, no, you're wrong. You can never leave, because without you, nothing will happen. So, but I think that HAMMERFALL needs both me and Oscar to be HAMMERFALL, because HAMMERFALL is Oscar, Oscar is HAMMERFALL, as much as Joacim is HAMMERFALL, HAMMERFALL is Joacim. So.
But to be honest, hand on your heart, what was your first thoughts as he blondes his hair a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's. I think you only live once, so you should, of course, try everything that's possible and legal, of course. And he is kind of blonde-ish. His hair color, because he was, coloring it black for many, many years.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So that fooled a lot of people. So
so back to roots.
Exactly. I mean, you've probably seen photos of his kid, and he's really blonde, really blonde. So and that's natural. So it's just a hair color.
Just a hair color. And you said that you only live once, and you have to pick up the chance to play some music with King Diamond. So for Venerate Me, you could win the King Diamond as a guest. And how did the contact come about, and how did he stand before his contribution to HAMMERFALL?
When Oscar presented the song to me, Venerate Me, he said that after the solo in this O part, I can really hear King Diamond singing. What? Why don't we ask him? Like, can we do that? Well, of course. I mean, we know King. We met him a couple of times. But the fact is that Pontus, the other guitar player, he is King Diamond's sound engineer.
Oh, okay.
So he knows King quite well. So we asked Pontus, can you call King and just see if he would be up for it? Yeah, of course. And he did. And he was up for it. He said, hell yeah, I can do that. We have to keep in mind that this is more of a cameo. This is like a special appearance by King Diamond. I don't want to present this or sell it as a duet or a featuring part, because it's a very small part, but I think it's very effectful. He just comes in there, he does his King Diamond thing, and then he's out of there. Goodbye. And he's, so it's quality. It's not quantity.
Yes.
And both me and Oscar are huge King Diamond fans. I mean, we grew up on Merciful Fate, then of course with King Diamond, and we were so proud that he wanted to be a small part of HAMMERFALL history. Anytime, King, if you need some vocals on your albums, give me a call.
Okay.
If you want to call back the favor.
So does this song, Venerate Me, deal with the mortality of mankind? I think it's a very meaningful title and, yes, a meaningful text.
A lot of songs on the album actually talks about mortality, or because during the pandemic, I kind of realized that, hey, fuck, I'm not immortal. Eventually, I'm going to die. And especially this song talks about that we all die twice. The first time when we take our last breath.
Yes.
The second time when someone says your name for the last time.
Oh, it's a deep meaning, yes. Mm.
It has a little the same meaning as Dia de los Muertos, the way they do it down in Mexico. Because as long as there's a picture on the wall somewhere of a person, that person is still alive in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as someone takes down the last picture and throws it away, then the soul disappears totally. So it's kind of a similar way of seeing things, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And that's why Elvis Presley is still alive.
And Lemmy.
And Lemmy. Yeah.
And I think there is a pretty cool Disney movie about this topic. It's called Coco. And
yes.
I have to say that I have a little tear in my eyes, like I heard for the first time Always Will Be, the first power ballad I've heard. And Not Today reminds me a little bit of this power ballad. So in terms of atmosphere, so what is the new power ballad Not Today about?
Depends on when you ask me. Today's a Tuesday, so let me see what it's about today. So lyrics are very personal, I would say. Mm-hmm. Lyrics should also be very personal to you and whoever listens to it. I want them to listen and get, then I would ask them, okay, what does this song mean to you? Mm-hmm. It means this and that. Oh, good. I never thought about that. When I wrote it, maybe it meant something else to me. So that's why I don't want to, get into the depth of the song, because then I will kind of reveal everything and spoil the effect, so to speak. But to me, this is kind of a very melancholic type of song. It's a ballad, but at the same time, not really a ballad, because it has a certain the melody on the guitar is brilliant.
Explosive melody. I love it.
Yeah.
The harmony of it.
Yeah. And this is, I would say, an encounter with death. It's kind of a conversation with the Grim Reaper somehow. That he comes around and it's kind of a dialogue, but in the lyrics, it's just listed as words. But it is a little dialogue going in there. Me talking to death, if are you here to take me home? Well, not today. The autumn leaves are, still falling. But eventually, he will come. Well, will he come tomorrow? Well, who knows if tomorrow never comes, because it might be today. So it's kind of a little conversation going on there. And of course, the final resting place I would say for me in this, it's always like a me thing when you're writing lyrics, is kind of true north, up to where the winter comes. That's kind of the final resting place. But not today.
So would you say that the whole topic of the record is you only live once?
Or twice.
Or twice.
Depends on how you see it. It's a lot of internal discussions about life and death, because there's also another song which is called Too Old to Die Young. That also is kind of, dealing with this, that, hey, we are sitting here now, 12th album. I mean, we're older than 27, so we can't really be legends like that. We can't, be the Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, or, James Dean, that all died at 27. We're way too old for that. So let's just continue to do this as long as we can, and as long as we can make a difference, and as long as it is fun, because we still have so much more to give. There are so many anthems still unsung. Yes. And that's what I'm saying about, talk about in the song. And that's where I see Hammerfall right now, that, what? We have a new album coming out, which is very, very, vital and powerful. And we have still a lot of songs inside ourselves that are unwritten, even though it's a struggle. I wouldn't say that this album came easy at all. This was the toughest album ever to write, to compose.
But from my point of view, I have to say that you as a singer reached up the next level. Was it hard for you as a singer to record the whole album during the pandemic situation, including the contact restrictions?
I think the problem was that I was at home for 1.5 years, not singing at all. Of course, when I did the demos and when I was writing the vocal melodies, I was recording, but that different type of recording. So when I came to the studio, I was like Bambi on ice, vocally, like, oh shit, how is this supposed to work? So that was kind of a struggle. But the big frustration at first was the fact that I was not allowed into United States. So I couldn't go and work with my vocal producer. So we had a plan B. We had an additional plan, I would say, because a plan B sounds like that's kind of, okay, we have to go here because we can't go elsewhere. But I was in contact with Jacob Hansen in Denmark. And when I came down there, I kind of realized that, okay, shit, it's a new producer. I never worked with him before. I wonder how this will go. Because with James, everything was always so smooth and so easy. When I knew him, he knew me. We had a lot of fun. But now I felt like, I need to step up the game a little bit and kind of prove that I'm a good singer. So
with someone new.
And I think maybe that triggered me a little bit to push it a little bit harder. And I also know now in retrospect that he pushed me harder than anyone else did before. If you haven't been on stage for so long, your voice is a little bit out of shape. Your recording window is not as wide as before. Let's say if I'm usually in the studio 2.5 hours, now I had like maybe 1.5, maximum 2 hours, because then the character of the voice would change too much. So I think that was why I just went in there from the first second and just delivered. And I think also that Jacob Hansen fooled me. He tricked me a little bit, because he said, yeah, we got everything we need, but give me one more. And when I heard that we got everything we need, I took a deep breath and relaxed. Okay, I give you one more. And usually those takes were the best takes because I was relaxed.
So is Hammer of Dawn your personal black album?
No, it's too bright for being a black album, isn't it? We'll see in retrospect how we will look at that, and but it's a solid album, and it will be for sure a very important album in the history of Hammerfall, for sure.
Yes.
Of course, it would be fantastic to have this so-called black album in your discography, but at the same time, there are many people, if you're talking about Metallica, they kind of said that they have done nothing good at all after the Black Album. And I don't want to get there, I'd rather have a very solid, Hammerfall discography with not stepping away too much. Because if you compare the Black Album or any other album after that with the debut album, it kind of sounds like two different bands.
Yes, you're right.
But if you compare Hammerfall now, album 12 with the first album, you can still hear, yeah, you know what? These guys are serious in what they're doing. This is heavy metal and nothing else.
And hopefully I will see you at the end of April together with Halloween in Bochum. So what can fans generally expect from this powerful package?
Well, they can expect the ultimate heavy metal experience from the masters and the pupils. Unfortunately, it's still very unsure what's going to happen with the tour. I must tell you that. But no matter what, the tour will happen one way or the other. I think it was so cool when Halloween approached us and asked if we wanted to do this together with them, because we all knew that when the restrictions will be lifted and everything is back to normal, nothing will be normal anymore.
Yes.
Because everyone will be out on tour at the same time. People have been unemployed for quite some time. Maybe they have money to buy one ticket to one concert. Well, here you have the happy hour package, 2 for 1. Most parts of Europe is not open, and we're getting very close to end of February. So we see what happens. But like I said, no matter what, the tour will happen one way or the other.
And I'm looking forward. So, as a figurehead of modern heavy metal like you, how do you feel about the Halloween reunion with Michael Kiske and his groundbreaking singing voice?
It's all about having fun. And I think the guys in the band are having more fun than ever, I would say. They're out there enjoying the ride. And you can also see that if you listen to the latest album, the Halloween album, that this really gave the whole band an energy boost that they really needed. But no, I think it's brilliant to do it like that. And everyone should be invited. They should not exclude anyone, because no matter if you were the original singer or the last singer or the first guitar player or the last guitar player, you all have your place in the band. They are all like a little piece in the big Halloween puzzle, or a little piece of the history of the band. No, I think it's cool. And if you play your cards right, I mean, the shows can be fantastic.
Yes. And HAMMERFALL had an immense wake-up call for the scene 25 years ago. So which bands do you think could have a similar high status in a few years?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
That's a very good question. I don't think we have seen those bands yet. I think they're still, in the rehearsal room, polishing the chains and their studs and the leather. I see a big movement going on in North America, in the US and in Canada, when it comes to these young bands playing new wave of British heavy metal. They are so true to the true roots of heavy metal. I mean, for a period of 10 years, we had all these bands going back to the 70s. But now they are at the beginning of the 80s instead. And I think that is very, very promising. And who will be there? Who will be the groundbreaking bands? I don't know. Because still, bands like HAMMERFALL and, of course, Sabaton will be around for a long time.
Yes.
Because as long as you have Iron Maiden, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses out there on the roads, we should be pretty safe, because we're a bit younger.
Yes, a little bit. And the first time I saw you was together with Stratovarius, 2005. I think it was the Monster Metal Madness tour. And I saw you in Cologne. So how would you describe the development of HAMMERFALL as a live band from then, 2005, to now, 2022?
I think we are so much better as musicians. We know how to entertain a crowd, no matter if we have a big pyro show or if it's only us on stage. If you go back to when the debut album came out in 97, we went on tour. We knew nothing about anything. Went up on stage and like, oh, who are you? Why are you touching my gear? Oh, you're my guitar tech. Okay, I never heard about the guitar tech. So everything is a learning experience. Everything changed when we took the break in 2013. I think from the tour you were talking about to the Infected tour, we didn't really know how to approach things. I think we kind of lost our way a little bit. And we took the break, and when we came back, the momentum started. And then we realized that, the key word for everything is fun. It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun anymore, we need to find a cure for that, or we need to do something else. And from Revolution to Build to Last to Dominion, I mean, we just went to like that. I don't want to compare, but fact is that HAMMERFALL now is bigger than we were when we were big. For some reason, like Renegade up to Crimson Thunder, that was kind of, we peaked. But no, with Dominion, shit, it's bigger. Because if you look at in Germany, for instance, we never played, the biggest production ever. Now we could step into the Hamburg Sports Arena. We could do MPH Arena in Ludwigsburg, and shit. It's 4,200 people in here. Like, wow, that never happened before.
And now you will play a special double headliner show with Halloween.
Yes, but that's at least now we can. It's going to be nice to have a lot of people, but unfortunately, not everyone is there for us. But maybe on the next tour, we will be able to have a little more.
We're looking forward. So 2022 also marks the 20th century of my personal hero metal record, Crimson Thunder. So to be honest, it was my first HAMMERFALL record with the single Hearts on Fire. So what can I say? And I still love it like the first day. And what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think back to your fourth studio record?
No, I have really good memories on this one. We went down to Tenerife and recorded the album in Andy Darris's studio. Yeah, together with Charlie Bauerfeind as a producer. That was the first time we worked with Charlie, and that was also, he brought a whole new way of recording to the table. It was a learning process how to work with Charlie. But no, I think this album really set not the standard, but I mean, with Renegade, we had an instant success in many territories, but with Crimson Thunder, I think everything just, stabilized. We had our foundation set that no matter what would happen after that album, we will still be a band that will be around. Because throughout the years, so many bands have come and gone.
Yes.
So many bands.
But HAMMERFALL is still alive.
We're still alive. Unbelievable.
With such a powerful record like Hammer of Dawn, but also with Dominion, Built to Last, they were also powerful and so great for me. So thank you very much for the great music. And from today's perspective, to have a quick look on Crimson Thunder, would you do anything differently than you did back in 2002?
You know what? You can't change the past. Of course, there are things that I would like to change if I could, but if I did change them, it would be like a butterfly effect, that it would have a big effect on the future. So I would say no on that question. Not at all, because I did, in a personal matter, I did everything as good as I could back then. But maybe I would go back to the mid-90s already and just whisper in my own ear, don't forget to have fun.
Oh, yes.
Don't overthink things. Just do it.
So, Joacim, it was a huge fun for me to speak with you, to speak about Hammer of Dawn, this powerful record. Thank you very much for the chance to talk with you about this. Is there anything you want to mention about Hammer of Dawn or the upcoming tour?
Well, not really. I mean, it's I'm just so anxious and so kind of a little nervous now to get the reviews from the fans, of course. I mean, from the journalists, it doesn't matter. They don't play in a band anyways. They always know better, them bastards. No, it's going to be fantastic when we're on stage again, meeting all the old fans and the new fans. It's just going to be a big, happy party. It's going to be like a family reunion, so to speak. And I think we miss the fans as much as the fans have missed us. So it will be like end of the war celebrations, more or less. People will be very, very, I think, very happy, very positive, and even though things will not go back to what we refer to as normal, I think it will go back to something even better.
And so thankful for live music.
Yes.
So no more open-ended questions, but instead of one, my friend, what is your most favorite song at this moment?
Believe it or not, it is a song in French.
Okay.
With a girl called Zaz, Z-A-Z. Le Jardin de l'Âme, featuring Till Lindemann from Rammstein. It's a fantastic song. He sings in French and then a little in German at the end of it.
Okay.
Le Jardin de l'Âme with Zaz and Till Lindemann. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
My favorite song at the moment, there are two. I think one of them is Savage Grace with We Came, We Saw, We Conquer, and a cover version of Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force from a pretty cool band. It's called HAMMERFALL. It was
that old drag of a song.
It was the bonus track of the Crimson Thunder, and
yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was my first love.
No, of course, you can't change that. I mean, that is the most important. Yeah.
Yes, it's all about the fun. So, Joacim,
yes,
thank you very much. And Joacim and I Wish you, dear listeners, all the best and have a nice day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.